Could you say your full name for me?
Yeah, my name is Patricia Leon Tomich, and people call me Patty.
Okay, sounds great, Patty. So, Patty, out of curiosity, for the audience's sake, I think how we met was really special. Tell me about that and how you approach me and stuff.
Right, so I started receiving your emails with videos of recipes that were actually really delicious because I followed several of them. But what caught my attention is the fact that you were using just local people in the neighborhood on the videos, and they looked like they were having a lot of fun. And at the time, my daughter, she must have been maybe 12. She had just decided that she wanted to go into show business. She had been a dancer since 3, and she's performed on stage. She did some modeling, she sang opera, sang in the worship band, and she wanted to full out go into show business. And so we started thinking, how can we start you off little by little to see if you like that industry? And so when I started seeing your recipes come through my emails, I thought, well, I can approach this guy. And I don't know him, but I know he's local. He seems very nice. And so one day I just turned around and there you were at the gym.
Really?
So I just walked up to you and I started talking to you and telling you what I had seen, how impressed I was with your videos. And I remember telling you I have a daughter that wants to get into the industry, and she's great in the kitchen. And if you ever want somebody young talking to other youngsters on what they could do, like after school snacks, let me know. And you agreed. You thought that was a really good idea.
Yes, it was.
So you had us over, and she's a big Harry Potter fan, so we called these protein balls, we called them Dragon Balls, just like in Harry Potter movie. And we had a really great time that day, and we've got a lot of bloopers, a lot of fun video of us just being goofy.
Yes, yes. I remember, what I remember about it, I don't think I mentioned it to you, is we had her standing on a box.
We did.
Yeah, so we were standing, she was in between us, we had her standing on a box because of the camera angle.
Right.
It was really great.
And now she's taller than I am.
Yeah, is she? Mm-hmm. Really? How long ago was that?
I think it was about 6 years ago because she just turned 18.
Yeah, interesting. That was funny.
Yeah.
And then she had that recipe on the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
And I remember another thing that was really impressive is that she picked stuff up really well. And I said to myself, see if you can teach her how to edit. Mm-hmm. So we sat down on the couch afterwards, and she edited the video, and I just showed her how.
And that's a blessing because she has been auditioning and doing self-tapes, and she edits all of her videos for self-tapes for auditions.
How wonderful.
Yeah, so you really got her started on that.
That's great, because it's to me, it's like it's getting more skills. Like a gentleman said, putting more tools in your toolbox.
That's right.
So did she pursue that?
Well, she's a senior right now. She's graduating, so she's still deciding which college she's going to be attending. Okay. We'll be deciding that in the next couple of weeks.
That's exciting.
But she is going for that degree. She wants screen acting, theater, performance.
She's going to pursue that.
Yeah, she really is.
That's so exciting. That is so exciting.
Yeah, she's very active in church. She sings in the worship band.
Okay.
She sings in the worship band at youth group. She's just finished her opera training.
Really?
Yeah, she's been in a couple of short films and done some modeling for Zulily and such. And Zulily is a store, a market of different brands.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's really liked it. She wants to do more of it.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. Yeah, I didn't know that about her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were kind of focused doing the
recipe,
the cookie recipe,
and it was really good. And it was a super easy recipe for any teen.
Perfect.
To put together.
Yes, that's perfect. So that's wonderful. That's really exciting. Thank you for because I always appreciate boldness. And when you're out there being bold, a lot of things don't work out, but once in a while it does. And you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
What's the worst that could have happened? You could have said, no, not interested.
Yeah.
I would have said, okay, have a great day.
Have a great day, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I guess why I wanted to interview you is you're living people's dream. You are a pilot, your husband's a pilot, you have a beautiful home in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in this area. How in the world did you get started on that? Because you're still very young. Mm-hmm. And anyways, could you share?
I can, yes. I was born in 1966 in Lima, Peru.
So Peru,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm an immigrant.
Okay.
I'm the youngest of four, the only girl.
Really?
And I've got three older brothers, and there's 7 years between the youngest of the three and myself. So I was almost like a separate family. Although I did ask my mom, was I an oops? And she said, oh, absolutely not. We planned you. Okay, you planned me for 7 years, Mom. Okay. But whatever. So I remember my dad when I was 3. I don't remember how many times he took me on a picnic, but he did take me on a picnic on a Sunday after church to a local airport where he and I sat down and we had a picnic, and I watched the little airplanes take off and land.
How lovely.
And I think we did that a few times. Mm-hmm. He was there enjoying himself, watching aviation in front of him. I was there mesmerized by these machines that were going up in the air.
Right.
And I wanted to be in it at 3.
At 3?
At 3, I knew.
So you had your dream
I got
at 3.
bit by the flying bug
Yes.
at 3 years old.
Yes.
I knew that I was going to be up in the sky somehow.
Wow.
So he'd pose me next to these airplanes and sit me on top of wings. You know, my mom, being the only girl, I was dressed in lace and flowers and all fluff. And so he got some cute pictures, and we'd go home, and then every one of my dolls were airplanes.
Really?
Mm-hmm, yeah. They were all airplanes. I was pointing to the sky all the time, and
really?
yeah. So
do you have any photos of those?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
If you could send me some, that'd be
I will.
lovely. Yeah, that would be lovely. So, how did you end up here? How did you meet your husband? Because he's a pilot as well.
He is, yeah. So, I immigrated when I was 5. It took several years for my dad to get all of us up here. We came up.
The whole family.
Yeah,
came.
the whole family came. We went to New Jersey. The only reason we went to a small town in New Jersey is because my uncle-in-law was living there, sending money, working and sending money back to his family in Peru. So my aunt's husband. And so my dad knew one person in the United States. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And so he went up there with my older brother, who had just graduated Catholic school, private Catholic school. And they worked together. They lived at the YMCA. They got a job at a factory supervising the it was a textile company, where the big rolls of materials would come in, and then they would put it through the machines, and the gold threading or the patterns would be woven through. And then from that factory, it went to designers, and they made clothes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So he and my brother worked there, and then they pooled their money together, got my next brother, who had just graduated high school. He was only a couple of years behind. Same Catholic school in Lima. And then the three of them worked together, still living in the same YMCA, and got the next brother, myself, and my mom up. So it took about 3 years for all of us to be back together again. But we did it all legally, and it was 1972 by the time I came to New Jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I brought my dream with me of becoming an airline pilot.
So, out of curiosity, so you're over there. You still have the dream. Did you, what was the next step, I guess?
Right, so the next step, we would travel home to Peru every year to visit family. We got our residency papers, so that was a big travel for us. We just continued spending summers there. So every time I hopped on an airplane, I would poke my head in the cockpit. You talk about me being bold.
Yeah.
So here's this little girl.
Yes.
I poke my head in the cockpit and say, "Where'd you go to school?"
Yeah.
"Where'd you go to school?" I asked every crew, "Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to school?"
So you're like 5.
Yeah, I'm like 5, 6, 7 until I was in high school. I was asking, "Where'd you go to school?" Because I was keeping tabs.
Yeah.
And more often I heard Embry-Riddle. Embry-Riddle.
What is that?
Embry-Riddle. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University is a school in Daytona Beach.
Oh.
They also have a smaller campus in Prescott, Arizona, and they have a satellite campus, which means you can be anywhere in the world and attend Embry-Riddle and get your degree.
Interesting.
But the big campus is in Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach.
Right, so...
It's a nice place to fly out of.
Right, so I grew up knowing I was going to Embry-Riddle.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being in my counselor's office, and of course it was the 80s, and I was telling everybody I was going to be a pilot, and they shook their heads and thought that I was crazy.
Yes.
You know, I was a very good student, but they'd never heard of a female pilot before.
No. It wasn't popular back then, if I'm correct.
The first one was hired in 1973.
Really?
Just nobody knew about it. I mean, there wasn't enough women.
Right.
So
now
it didn't catch anybody's attention. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting
there. Like right now at my airline, we're at about 7% women out of a total of 3,100 total pilots.
Only 7%?
Mm-hmm. Across the nation, it's about 5, 6.
I thought it'd be like 50-50.
No.
Because everything seems about 50-50 now.
No.
So do you think of it because people lack a desire to pay the price? Because they don't give you the license just because you're female?
I'm not sure, Bill. I have given a lot of speeches, presentations to different groups, Girl Scouts, elementary school kids, high school kids. I've gone everywhere, even college. And they just don't think it's an option for them. I'm talking about women. They just don't see it as an option or an avenue to take.
Well, you know, it's like people have said things to me, I think, oh, that's way outside my comfort zone. I could never do that. And I think inside people's minds, it's a common response to whatever you're promoting. So, so you've actually gone out there and sharing to groups.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. So how do you like speaking in front of people? You seem pretty comfortable.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I don't mind it. I have a good story to tell.
Yes.
And if I could do it, anybody can do it. Yes. I paid for my own schooling. So I knew I was going to Embry-Riddle.
Right.
And I had a job starting at age 16, and I started saving my money.
Saving your money, good.
I knew it was an expensive school. Mm-hmm. Of course, it didn't hit me, the shock of the expense, until I was there.
Oh.
But I had 2 jobs on campus while I went to school. I ate a can of vegetables a day. My first year, I dropped 25 pounds. But it's amazing how when you're that young, 18, 19, you are so resilient.
It doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, you're immortal.
Yeah.
You're resilient. Nothing's, and I still flew airplanes. I still got great grades. And I was eating a can of vegetables a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. Like, I would never be able to do that now.
Yeah, sure. You know, a few other people. So.
Right. So I got a job, 2 jobs on campus, like I said, for the 4 years. I was blessed to have my junior and senior year, somehow through financial aid, I received 2 scholarships of $1,500 each, which was really lovely.
Yes.
For each year. And other than that, I took out a big loan when I came home after my first semester because my dad said, I can't afford this for you.
Right.
And if you're not going to do this on your own, you're not going back.
Right.
And I knew that that was not an option for me.
Very clear.
I was going back.
You're going. Well, tell me if you agree with this, but I find that the people, when they pay for their own stuff, they're very attentive.
Sure. Yeah. You take ownership of it.
Exactly.
It's value.
Yes.
And you know that you have to get your money's worth out of it. Right?
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
So I remember Christmas time during the break, taking my dad, who didn't speak any English, to a bank.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we were straight up immigrant family. My parents didn't speak English. My mom spoke a little bit. It was only us kids that interpreted for them.
Right.
So we went to a bank. And I'm sitting across the desk from this young gal, blonde. I wish I knew her name. I wish I would have had foresight to write down her name because I would have thanked her right now. Right. There's so many people that I would love to thank right now.
Right.
Her being one of them. But she's looking at me with this dazed expression in her face because here is the young Spanish gal who's 19. She says she wants to be a pilot. I've never heard of such a thing.
Wow.
That's probably what she's thinking.
Wow.
And she wants to take out a $25,000 loan?
Really?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
And here's her father that's going to co-sign, and he doesn't speak any English.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How lovely.
So she took the biggest chance on me.
Yes. Wow.
And I'm still so grateful to her. I know what she looks like. I have no idea how to get in touch with her.
Wow.
This was back in 1985.
Divine intervention.
Totally. God was on my side the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
So I got the loan. I went back to school, and I knew I was okay for a few years.
Yeah.
I still carried my 2 jobs on campus.
Yes. Yes.
And I still ate very little.
Yes.
After I graduated with a 4-year degree in aeronautical science, bachelor's of aeronautical science, I got a job flight instructing there, which was really great because I was able to build up my total time really fast.
I was thinking hours.
Because I'm at a school that's teaching kids how to fly, and so I was in, that was high demand to have instructors there. And then after 3 years of that, I got a job flying as a corporate pilot for an insurance company.
Interesting.
It's still in Florida.
Okay.
So I spent a total of 10 years in Florida flying.
So what does a corporate job mean? Because I don't know.
It means I'm flying the business jets. I'm sure you've heard of Gulfstreams or Learjets. Well, we had a Westwind and a Citation and a Conquest. So we would fly the executives all over their offices, different states, to conventions, things like that. So I did that for 3 years.
Interesting. So you're building up more hours.
Building up really high quality time, jet time, captain time, a lot of cross country high altitude flying, working with ATC, more so than as an instructor.
Wow.
Right? And so it was very valuable to me. And then after I felt my logbook was competitive to apply, another divine intervention, I started thinking, it's about time that I start applying to airlines because I knew that this corporate job was just a stepping stone for me. I wasn't going to end up being a corporate pilot. I knew I wanted an airline job. And within the 3 years of flying corporate, I had brought on another pilot that was furloughed from US Air, and we had become friends, and he was doing subcontract work for us, flying whenever we needed another pilot in the flight deck. Because he was living in Florida and he was furloughed from US Air and he wanted to keep flying. So we'd pay him from time to time to do these flights with us. He ended up coming back to Seattle, getting a job in Seattle, and out of the blue, I get this call, and it's him, and he says, hey, I hear that there's the local airline here is hiring 45 pilots. Do you want me to send you an application? I said,
wow.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Don't know about them, never heard about them, I'll research them, thanks a lot. So I fill out the application, I put in my $45, and I forget about it. And a couple months later, I can't balance my checkbook. I'm like, where does this $45 go to? I forgot to put it in there, and then I get a call for an interview. I'm like, oh, that's where the $45 went.
That's right. Yeah,
$45 was a lot, back then. Because I'm still starving. I'm still starving as a corporate pilot. I'm not making a ton of money.
Yeah.
So
you're just trying to survive.
I'm trying to survive, keep my head above water.
That's a lot of cans of peas.
I know, and beans. So I applied. I came to the interview. I was hired, and then I just waited for my ground school, date.
Right.
My start date, which was a few months later. Yeah. So
What were you flying?
For the airline?
Yeah, what type of aircraft?
737.
737.
Yeah,
okay.
Boeing 737.
Okay.
So based in Seattle the whole time. I've been here 27 years.
Oh, so you were actually out of Seattle here. Wonderful. Yeah. Yes.
Right. So yeah, it's been a great journey. I learned a lot throughout my college years, flight instructing years, corporate pilot years, and even, to this day, just continue to learn.
Interesting. So how many aircrafts are you qualified for now? Sounds like quite a few, probably.
Well, any of the 737s that show up at the gate, we can fly. We can all fly.
You can fly those. Interesting. And where have you flown around the world? I mean,
as a pilot?
Yeah, as a pilot. A lot of my customers, they've done internationals.
Yeah, we're not that. I mean, we go as far as Mexico, Canada. We're going to Belize now, but that's not our routes. We're not flying those, or at least I'm not.
Right.
Costa Rica, I'm not flying those. I try to stay flying out and back the same day, which are called turns for us. And that's what I try to stay doing.
Well, you had mentioned before the interview about your daughter. I mean, you've got her. She's you're having her involved with shows and productions and all these different things. And I thought to myself, that takes a lot of time just to be involved with that. So I see the wisdom of the turnarounds.
Right.
Because, because you can't be gone for all these days if you're trying to raise a child. Right,
right. And so that leads to an interesting comment. I had a goal of getting on with an airline by the time I was 30, and I was hired at 29. So I made that goal.
Perfect.
Then I had a goal written down that I'd be a captain by 35. I did it at 34.
Wow.
Congratulations. Thank you.
That's a big deal.
It is. Yeah, I met those goals. And then after I upgraded to captain, I got engaged. We got married. We had our daughter, in 2004. And I remained a captain for a total of 7 years. By the time she was 3, I couldn't take the tears anymore every time I put my uniform on, because I'd be gone for days.
Tears? What's tears?
Well, she would just
the
drop
crying
on the floor and start crying because Mama would leave.
I thought you had tears in terms of different flights.
Yeah, no, it was like
tears.
pulling at my heartstrings. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yes,
So Brian and I talked, and we decided that I would go back as a co-pilot or a first officer to get more control of my schedule, because I'd be really senior as a co-pilot as opposed to really junior as a captain.
Right.
So that was a blessing too.
So that worked out well.
It worked out great.
Wonderful.
So now I'm back in the left seat. She's 18. She drives herself. She can take herself places. And she's going up to college shortly, within the next year.
And now you miss her.
So
because she's going on.
Now I'll be dropping to the floor and crying.
I can see you stomping your feet going, you can't leave me.
Right. She's my buddy. She's my travel buddy.
That's wonderful.
She's great. So it's been a blessing to be home with her and raising her. And my husband and I, because he's also a pilot, we never wanted a nanny or an au pair. Somebody else raising our child. And we only had one, so we wanted to do it ourselves.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. You know, I've always thought, you know, they've made a lot of good choices. So because of your good choices, why do you think that you made so many good choices? Because I look at your home and your daughter and blah. Is it because your dream was so strong, or why? Or do you think God was just blessing you? And what do you?
We have strong faith, and our faith continues to grow all the time. And we totally believe that God has always been by our side. Always. And He
helping you
still
make the decisions.
Yeah, you know, and you just need to, I don't know, just believe and listen.
Just listen.
You know, He very clearly will tell me which road to take, which, direction to go.
So you feel you're tapped in.
Totally. I really do. My brother committed suicide when I was 11.
Wow. How
Back
old
in
were
New
you?
Jersey, I was 11.
You were 11.
And he was 21.
Oh my gosh. So it destroyed you.
Destroyed me. But I remember very clearly in my room hearing a voice saying, I'm going to take care of you.
Oh my gosh.
I will be there with you. And, I knew that was, at first I thought it was a guardian angel.
Yes.
And as I grew in my faith, I realized it was Jesus.
Yes.
He was telling me He was going to take care of me.
Oh, that's lovely.
So there's been many moments.
I've had that happen when people you love they commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there have been several occasions in my life where He's spoken very clearly to me.
That's lovely.
So making the right choices, I think it is based on, for me, my faith, my wisdom, my experiences, life's experiences, because, we grew up we were middle class in Peru. We had a home. My dad got a new car every 3 years. I was told he had a great job. He saw no future for his kids. Okay?
Interesting.
So they leave everything, and they're dirt poor here now, right?
Really?
Yeah. And so I could recall knowing by the dinner we'd have, this is the end of our paycheck. Tomorrow he gets paid. Like I remember rice with a fried egg on top meant, oh, it's Wednesday night. Tomorrow's Thursday, he gets paid and we go food shopping.
Yes.
And boy, to not have that fear or to not have that worry is such a blessing.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful to my parents for having that foresight to come to this country.
And be able to do that.
And I'm thankful for God to be there alongside me the whole time. And I've always been focused. I don't know if it's the fact that it's just my personality. I know what I want and I go get it.
Right.
And nothing stops me, which is, I think it's a blessing, really. Really do.
So I see a lot of people, they're almost angry when they're after their goals. You don't seem angry at all. It
No.
seemed like, I'm just persistent and I just keep after it till I get it. Is that
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah, it took me 10 years to get to an airline from the day I started flight school to the day I got hired
Okay.
at the
That's
local airline.
realistic time.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
years. Now it takes less. Now it takes about 5.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Now we are so short of pilots right now that you can get hired with very little time.
So, if someone's listening to this and they have a dream to become a pilot, you would suggest that this is a very good time.
This is a very good time to get into flying if this is what you want to do.
Interesting. Because I know in all industries you get overabundance and you have a lack, and it's even
a
in
pendulum.
nursing. It's a pendulum.
It's a
It goes
pendulum.
back and forth. Well, that's really exciting. So we have something locally here called Aviation High School. Some of my customers got their son involved, and now he flies fighter pilots off the carrier jets. And what do you think about that? Is that a good place to begin?
Yeah, I was one of the first mentors there.
Oh, you were?
And so I'm not doing it any longer, but my husband is a current mentor there. It's a good school.
It is a good
It's
school.
a good school.
Good stepping stone.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice avenue to have if you think you're interested in that,
It's
in aviation.
It's a good trial place.
Right.
No risk.
Right.
That's wonderful. I thought that was so cool. I thought that was so cool that they had that. So, yeah, it really helped them. So, you've got this wonderful life, wonderful neighborhood, great husband, great daughter.
Two great dogs.
Two great. Your dogs are real chill. They're sitting right here, just laying right next to us. And so, where do you see yourself going in the next 5 or 10 years?
That's a very good question. So I'll be retired in 5 years.
Okay, so you have the option to retire. Okay, so do you think you'll take advantage of it?
I think so. But life changes,
Life
and you
does
never know what's
change.
around the corner. At this point, I have exactly 4 years to go to reach my 30 years with the company.
30 years?
Yeah, maybe
Wow.
3.5 years to go. And I
You look a lot younger.
I thank you.
You're welcome.
My daughter will be in her last year of school, so I'm wondering if I'll go 1 extra year just to
Right.
complete her
Right.
college tuition. If not, I'll take advantage of getting out at 30 years. We're putting in
30 years, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Go
gone
ahead,
by
Mary.
really fast.
Yeah.
We've put in a lot of updates and upgrades in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have it paid off. We're going to stay here definitely another 10 years and take advantage of everything we're doing to the house. And after that, I'm not sure where we're going to go.
Well,
My husband wants to go someplace warm.
I think you were spoiled, is what it is.
Yeah.
I run off to warm places too in the winter, so I understand. So where would he like to go? Someplace warm? Would he like to have a home there, or just travel because you guys get?
See, that's where we differ. I think I'd rather have like a month here, a month there, a month here, a month there.
Yes.
And he would rather have like another home. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see how it ends up.
I have a customer I'll be interviewing. They are self-employed, and I'll be interviewing this week. They have a place. I mean, she told me about it. I had to look it up, but it's in Honduras on an island just north of the main area. I looked down. I was like going, "Wow, that's a good style lifestyle." So there's a lot out there.
Wow, yeah. I'm not sure where our daughter will end up either,
Right.
So eventually, we'd like to be a part of her life and her kids and all that. So
That's so exciting.
But definitely I want to keep traveling in my future.
Yes.
Definitely go back to Europe and South America and just continue exploring and seeing the world. I love staying at different countries for a couple weeks at a time and getting to really know the culture and the energy there, the cuisine, and learning a little bit of the language. Speaking fluent Spanish, being a Latin language, I'm able to pick up right away on the Italian and the French and all that, and the Portuguese. So
That's
I
a
really
blessing.
enjoy that. Yeah, and my daughter as well, that was her first language, was Castilian. So traveling is definitely going to stay in our future.
Interesting. What are some of your favorite places that you like to travel?
So my favorite, honestly, my favorite city in the world is Cusco. Cusco's up in the Andes. And it was the capital of
back
the
home.
Inca Empire. Right. So I'm from the coast, from Lima, where the Spanish settled. But in the Andes, the Incas had Cusco as their capital.
How do you spell that?
Cusco.
See, I'll Google Earth that. Yeah. So
that's my favorite. It sits at about 10,000 feet.
wow.
It's
How are you?
gorgeous.
How's your at altitude? Do you have any problems?
No, I personally don't. But they recommend tourists to stay in Cusco for 2 days and do like a city tour the first day. You take a nap as soon as you get there, because you get there pretty early in the morning. And they give you some coca tea, which is like a really nice, relaxing kind of leaf.
The leaf coca leaf.
Yep.
Right. Thank you.
And then you go to sleep, take a nap, get up, have something to eat, and then you do a city tour. The next day you do maybe a valley tour, an Urubamba Valley tour. You go to different ruins, different religious sites for the Inca's tribe, and then the third day you usually start on a hike. Now I've hiked the Inca Trail twice.
Really? How is that?
It was wonderful. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I can't recommend it enough. The first time Brian and I did it, we were just recently engaged and carried our own backpacks, slept on the ground in tents. 26 miles in, 26 miles in like 4 days.
Really?
The next time I went...
Was that difficult at 10,000 feet or not?
It was challenging.
It was challenging,
but
okay.
definitely doable.
Okay.
And then the next time we went, it was just me. It was after my parents passed away, the year after, and I hiked 60 miles in 7 days and made it through a pass that was 16,500 feet high. No oxygen, but the beauty of this trip was we did it through mountain lodges of Peru, and you literally end up in a lodge every end of your day.
Lovely.
With a jacuzzi,
Oh,
and a gourmet chef travels ahead of you,
really?
hikes ahead of you, and prepares everything for you. And the beds are feather beds. I never felt sore after that trip at all.
Oh,
I can do
so
60 miles like all the time if I was doing it like that at 16,000 feet. It was wonderful.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. There's many different ways of doing the
I
trail,
never heard of
the
that.
Inca Trail.
I didn't know that. Now, I've heard through one of my neighbors that they have things like that over in Europe,
Right.
but I didn't know they had that there. So.
Right. So one of the trails or hikes on my bucket list is to hike the Camino, which starts in France and ends up in Spain. And it's the Way of St. James. And there's actually a movie about it. It's called The Way.
The Way.
If you want to look that up.
I will.
But in Spanish, it's called El Camino.
El Camino.
Yeah, and it's a pilgrimage.
Okay.
You know, and it's several hundred miles. And some people do it in sections. Other people take, 4 months and do it all at once.
In Europe. The European one.
Right.
That's interesting.
El Camino.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so that's a really good one. And then I also want to go through Switzerland and hike the Alps.
Yes.
Some more. So.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you got a lot to look forward to.
I do. There's a lot of things I want to do. As my daughter likes the arts,
right.
I do too. And one thing I did throughout the time off that I took during the pandemic is I joined 2 choruses and 1 quartet. So I was able to explore that and go back to singing again, because I've always sung, just I didn't have much time in the recent years until that. I currently still dance jazz and tap weekly, so I love performing, and I think I'll get back into some acting, modeling, and stuff like that after I retire. When I have more time to do it.
Yes, when you can focus.
Yeah.
Because you can only do so much at a time.
Right.
It's, I want you're very confident. And I think confidence is built up by a lot of successes. But if you're young and you're starting off with your dream, you don't have a lot of successes. What would advice that you would give to young people who wanted to build a career in the flight industry or something else?
Just to stay focused.
Stay focused.
And stay true to what your goal is. You know, I am a big believer in writing things down and journaling.
Right.
And staying on track.
Staying on track.
Right. And always remember that you are the best investment that you'll ever make. Investing in yourself. Some people say, oh, I can't do that. I can't take a loan out. I can't afford it. Yes, you can. You will pay it back.
Yes.
And you're the best investment you'll ever make.
Yes.
Is in yourself and in your future.
Yes.
So don't be afraid of taking that chance and taking those risks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to wrap up this interview, and I just
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me to do this. It's been an honor.
Well, I just, so I'm just very grateful. Thank you so much.
I am too. Thank you.
Okay.